Welcome, Rotarians and guests. We're so glad to have you today. It is our weekly in-person and Zoom meeting for June 9th, 2021. And we're so glad that you're here and took a little bit of your lunch hour to have some fellowship with friends and listen to our great speaker today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce James Boggs. He's going to do our invocation and our salute to the flag. James.
Thanks, Cindy. Would you join me in prayer? Lord, we just thank you for this day, Father. Thank you for this beautiful weather, Lord. Thank you for the season of rain, for so many years of drought. Lord, we thank you for our speaker. We thank you that we live in a country where we have the freedom to vote and to work hard and to try to win. Lord, we just thank you for all the people that are here today and those that can join us on Zoom. Lord, we're thankful for all the people that have worked hard the last 5 weeks to bring us back here in person. All the people that are running the technology, the silent people behind the scenes that donated technology. Lord, we just give you all the praise and all the glory. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Please join me in pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Rotarians in service today. Jennifer Seaton did our registrar, John White was our greeter, and James Bogg was our invocation and flag salute. So on everybody's table, you're going to see not only the bulletin, but a list of all the donors, the whole sponsors, and the participants in 2021 golf tournament. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. Congratulations, congratulations. Leader of the pack, Robert, do you have anything to say or add or?
No, thank you all. It's a great success.
Committee members, Chris Kohler, Anzai Gregory got the raffle prizes. Mike Sanders helped with the whole sponsors. And JD Younger, Chief Younger did the kind of the sign up. I believe we had 76 golfers. I don't know how you guys did it, but the rain held out. You blew the rain out, and we thank you for that. It was an amazing electric day, and thank you so much. I know Scott Streller's team won. I don't know who might be here from that team. Natalie's team came in second. And Robert, who was the third place? It was. Thank you, Krista. So congratulations to all of them. So start getting those raffle prizes ready for next year, because we're going to try to outdo it next year. Great scholarship money. We are now ready to have our pearls for June. We have our June birthdays. Dan Chavez, who I believe is on Zoom today, June 3rd. Don Manner, June 5th. Scott Streller, June 8th. John Combs, June 10th tomorrow. And Keith May is here in person on the 11th. So those are our birthday pearls. Happy birthday, everyone. So we're going to take a few minutes, and we have a My Rotary story today for Mark Lyle. And Mark Rock is right there. So let's hear about Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Lyle. I'm a 30 years member of Edmond Rotary Club. When I joined, we were Edmond Central, Rotary Club of Edmond Central. My dad was a Rotarian in Enid. My grandfather was a Rotarian and a Paul Harris Fellow in Sapulpa. I guess I'm a third generation Rotarian, and I was formerly the treasurer of our club, and the next year I was secretary, and I worked with a guy who was secretary, and he was treasurer, and that was back in the day before we had Allison, and so we had to show up at about 25 minutes early each Wednesday, and we got to be good friends. Well, his name was Jules Valdez, and as many of you know, Jules perished in the Oklahoma City bombing, and so that was really tragic. But God, what a great guy, always had a smile on his face. also was the scholarship chairman for about 10 or 12 years, and really enjoyed seeing that, and then seeing at our last Rotary meeting how outstanding these young kids are today. It was just absolutely fantastic, and I really met a lot of young high school students then, and some of them are now in their 40s, and they're friends with me on Facebook. Just great. I've been a reader at Ida Freeman, off and on for most of the time. I really missed that this last year, and I'm lucky enough to be able to read to my niece's class, Mrs. Lyle, she teaches kindergarten, and it's amazing how much joy I get out of that. I'll see those kids, and then every week I'd go there and show up, and they'd come give me a big hug, and then really miss that. I'm looking forward to getting back to do that again. I really enjoy also I play chess at Ida Freeman, and I get killed, but one year I beat a kid because I'm such a horrible player. I made a very unorthodox move, and I think I threw him off his game. But anyway, I get a lot out of it. I enjoy all of the old friends I've met through Rotary. I enjoy the new friends I've met. I enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy the programs that we have. And honestly, I'm very proud to say that I'm a Rotarian. And if it's something that you're looking to get into, an organization, I highly recommend Rotary. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. What a great Rotarian career with that. So, just as a last-ditch effort for Chris Berry, do you have anything to say, Chris, about Saturday in the Endeavor Games? Do you need any more volunteers?
UCO facilities volunteers for it. They did move us off of archery, so everybody that signed up should receive an email with new options.
Okay, did everybody hear that? And off of archery, but we'll have other sites that we're going to do 9 to 1 on Saturday, 9 to 1 on Saturday. Okay, our Sergeant at Arms today, Mike Sander.
You got usurped by Jessica, so here you go.
Well, thank you. I'm not taking Mike's role. I've done that once before, and I don't want to do it again. But welcome. You guys know me. My name is Jessica. I have a special request today because, as many of you guys have probably seen or heard, and Beth and I are hard at work over here in our studio cubicle here. We have nice plush things over here. Okay, so here's what I need from you all. We are having issues with sound. We are still catering to about anywhere between 10 and 20 people on Zoom every week. I think today we have about 13. They have a hard time hearing because, one, as you can see, this room is very echoey, and we love it. It works for us here in the room, but we also want to make sure our members on Zoom are taken care of as well. And I don't know if you guys have seen this little guy up here. This is our external microphone that is feeding directly into our Zoom sound, where they can get really clear sound if I get right here, okay? As you guys can see, that's a problem. And for our speakers, for our Sergeant of Arms, for our President, and like today, our speaker, he wants to get out and talk and walk around, and we would love for him to do that, and we want him to do that. With that, we need some lapel wireless microphones. So I need to raise $500 today so we can buy them. So we can continue this virtual thing through the end of the year, but also so we can offer this in 2022 for members who can't make it as makeup sessions. It's something that the board and I have discussed, and we want to, with James Boggs coming in, he has okayed that. So I'm going to start the bidding off. $20. I need $500. And Mike, you keep track, because I'm not good at this part, okay? I wasn't banking. Mark, don't talk about banking with me and Mark. But Chuck's gonna do 200. I got 20 from Cynthia. Come on. Who else? I'm not leaving. 50, Krista, Dave. You guys just give this, Chris Kohler, you guys give this to Mike, because he's gonna be the one to do it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Oh, Zoom. Come on, Zoom members, this is for you, really. So, pony up some money. I got 10, Robert, Candace.
Victoria's got 50.
Victoria, 50, thank you.
Heather's got 20.
20. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for the support and the grace and the patience that you guys have given us.
We want to make this a better club for everyone, so thank you so much. Mike, go get that money.
Okay. So those of you who made a pledge, if you'll send it in on Venmo, or if you'll check Allison or bring it next week, that'd be great. First of all, do we have any guests in the audience? Any guests?
Hello, I'd like to introduce Chelsea, who is a field representative for Commissioner Kevin Powell, and my guest.
I have a guest also. This is Bill Sharp. Bill is the most overworked and underpaid employee of Sheriff Tommie Johnson. He runs the reserve program for Oklahoma County Sheriff's Department. Welcome, Bill.
You guys can send your money to JD on Venmo if you don't have cash on you today, so he would be happy to take it from you too.
We'll always have to take the money. Kind of keeping up with the golf tournament theme, looks like we had a very successful turnout, and when Rusty and the financial group get through with it, we'll give you a report on the dollars and cents that were raised for our scholarships. I did have the opportunity to see Scott Sterler this morning, and I fined him $5 for breaking one of the tenets of the four-way test. He broke the tenet that says, "Is it fair to all concerned?" because his team always wins the tournament. So I got $5 out of him. For the golfers in the room, shooting your age is almost a near impossible thing to accomplish. But we had a record set at our golf tournament this year. There was a gentleman by the name of Amzai Gregory. His team shot 65. Amzai is 90 years of age, so he beat his age by 35 years. So we got a little gift for Amzai. And those of you that attended the tournament, you probably saw at the giveaways, these flags were a gift from Oak Tree National Club. There's a few left over there on the tables. If you'd like one, feel free to take it with you. Also, the folks at Frenzy Brewing gave us some koozies, and in the ones on the table is a coupon for a free beer. You must be 21, do not drink and drive. Is that right? In honor of our speaker today, kind of a law enforcement theme to raise a little money, here in Edmond we have the Citizens Police Academy, who tomorrow night's having their barbecue from their alumni association. Anyone in this room been to the Citizens Police Academy? Raise your hand. Everyone else, that'll cost you $1, please, just put it on the table. I was a Rotarian in this club many years ago and then went back to Colorado. My career was a banker. While I was up there, I got involved in their Citizens Police Academy, and then I got further involved, and I became a reserve deputy for the sheriff's office up there for almost 9 years. My very first traffic stop, in uniform, lights and sirens, no sirens, just lights. It turned out to be a fellow Rotarian and competitor banker of mine. And I had an FTO officer with me, and he said, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to write her up." I said, "Get her up." So, any banker in the room, that's going to cost you $1 today, too. And kind of keeping along with the four-way test, if any of you did not come to a complete four-way stop sign stop on your way to the Rotary meeting today, that's going to cost you $1. And anyone that exceeded the speed limit by 4 miles an hour or more, that will cost you $1 today, and I'll come around and pick up the money. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's a lot of dollars. You guys ought to be happy that we're out patrolling for you. So without further ado, we're going to have JD introduce our speakers today.
Thank you, Cindy. It's definitely an honor of mine to be able to introduce our speaker today. I've known this sheriff for about 8 years. I'll tell you, when I was asked to introduce him, I was a little bit hesitant because I said, it's hard to introduce somebody that's twice the man you are. And you'll see when he stands up, he's literally twice the man that I am. But in all seriousness, you can read through his bio, the brief bio that was put out in our weekly thing. The thing I want to tell you about our sheriff is he is a true public servant. He is a large human. His heart is even larger. He's not a person that started wanting to be a police officer from the time he was a little person. He wants to be in service to his community. And he has found law enforcement work as an avenue to do that. The position he holds is obviously an elected position, and because of the way it is structured, you have to declare a partisan affiliation to be elected. But he is not a partisan. He is a servant. He is looking to serve individual humans in his community. And that's why I'm so proud to call him my friend. And last but not least, for the believers in the room, he's a man of God. He believes he's really called to do this. His family are good Christian people. He's the father of 2 on the ground and 1 on the way. And I'm sure he'll talk about that. So, my friend, Sheriff Tommie Johnson.
First, I would like to start with I always come out when I speak to individual groups. I want to say thank you, because this is truly a pleasure to serve in this capacity. And I would not be here if it were not for you all's support and showing up to the ballot box on voting day and punching my name. You do not know what that means to me, and I can't say thank you enough. So thank you guys first and foremost. Secondly, it's truly an honor to have Chief Younger introduce me. I started out as a young officer at the City Normal Police Department, and I walked into his office, and you could just see this guy has so much power, yet he's so sweet and inviting. And I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to mimic his career and make my path to the top and make a difference while I'm there. And that's why it's such an honor for you to introduce me, so thank you for the kind words. First off, my name is Tommie Johnson III. I'm the Sheriff of Oklahoma County. And I have been blessed with this wonderful agency to work with. Now, the 4 things that I ran on 4 principles. We were going to provide safer communities, fiscal responsibility and transparency, partnerships, and progress within the agency. I thought these were very important. I thought these 4 pillars were something that were feasible, that we can do right now. We can make these strides right now. These aren't just generalities that someone puts out there. These are meaningful, specific items that we can accomplish. And that's what I wanted to bring up over now. So when we talk about safer communities, when I first got here, I looked at our organizational chart, and I noticed just off top that we had a lot of leadership at the top and not a lot of people at the bottom that are in these communities keeping people safe, in our courthouse keeping our judges and our other community people safe that go and handle business. So I knew then we had to restructure our organization. And I'm gonna tell you what, that is one of the toughest things that I had to do, because you have to go to people who are captains, who are lieutenants, and I have to change your rank, not because I don't like you, but for the betterment of the agency. And we did. We started off with 14 captains, I believe. Now we're down to 8. We have more people providing service to the community. We have more people out in the community, because I truly believe that presence deters crime. Just the presence of a deputy in your communities patrolling your streets deters anyone from doing anything nefarious. And so that's what we wanted to get back to. We wanted to provide that service, and we have accomplished that. It goes back to those feasible strides that I wanted to make. Secondly, fiscal responsibility, fiscal transparency. I will tell you, that has kind of been the Achilles heel for the sheriff's office for as long as I've known, for as long as anyone has ever seen. When you look back at 2017, some of the things that I ran on were accountability for our assets. When I ran, it was $3-point-something million of missing assets that the state auditor and inspector's office found as a result of an audit that was performed. And when I came into office, I wanted to know where we were at, because you can't know where you're going. You can't create a path there unless you know where you're coming from. So I called the state auditor and inspector's office, and I requested an audit of all of our assets. And I will tell you, when I came into this agency, I immediately took ownership, and I immediately took things personal because I wanted it to be great. And when you come back and you see $7-point-something million worth of assets missing, it broke my heart. Because we have to be more responsible with the taxpayers' dollars. We have to be more responsible with the assets that they provide us to protect you guys. We owe it to you. And so from that, we had to identify, how do we go forward? What do we do now? So we have to develop a plan. Once again, a feasible plan that we can approach, that we can achieve. And I looked across what we were doing, how we were operating. We had one person over property with an agency with 5,000 items. That's a feat that I don't think anyone can accomplish. So I knew then we have to share the wealth amongst everyone in our agency. I hired another property person to help him out with day-to-day operations. Also, I tasked all of my captains to be responsible and to, kind of keep up with the inventory with the deputies that are directly under their leadership. This spreads it out amongst, and we can carry the load together, because one person can't do anything, but we collectively can achieve anything. And I truly believe that. And I brought that mindset, especially to this task at the Sheriff's Office. And so we have that there in place. I've hired a CPA as well, who has auditing experience, and she has us headed in the right direction, Ms. Andrea Dean. I am so pleased with what she has done in our office thus far. And I will tell you, when you see the end of this, we will take Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office to heights it's never seen. And I will be very proud that I'm a part of it. Now, when we talk about fiscal transparency, the other issue is a lot of people have always wanted to know, what does the sheriff's books look like? Where is the money going within the office? I heard your concerns over the campaign, and I said, I will provide that information for you. You will not have to come to me and dig it out or pry it out of my hands. I will tell you, Oklahoma County, as a county collectively, we are very transparent in our spending, just because of all the hoops you have to jump through to buy anything. But I don't expect hardworking citizens to go through minutes of county commissioner meetings to see how that money is breaking down. So I told our guys, we need to go over and beyond and give our community the information they're asking for. So I have purged all those items out of the BOCC, all the way down to the dollars and cents. And if you go on our Facebook at the end of every month, you are able to see what we're spending and where it is coming from. And I will tell you how powerful that is. We have more questions from community members asking about this and praising, hey, we enjoy this. And they interact with us on this, interact on how our funds work, our accounts. And I think the next video we're going to put out is it's going to be a sheriff's account, or sheriff's, I have to come up with the title, forgive me. Yes, but it pretty much is going to go over how our money works. It's going to be a one-on-one class on the funds that we have from general fund, M&O to sheriff's fees, so you understand the difference in each of those items, where the taxpayer dollars go to the general fund and how we spend things out of our sheriff's fees and all those others. So you have a better understanding, because I believe through understanding, all of these conversations can be had and the resolutions can be made. And then after that, we talk about partnerships. Partnerships are very important, especially in law enforcement, especially in frontline emergency services, because we are all pulling from the same road to help the community be safe. So if we are not all partnered together, working together collectively to keep all of our areas within Oklahoma County safe, we are failing you guys. So that's the one thing I wanted to do. But it extends further than law enforcement, further than first responders. It extends to our city leaders, our other elected officials. I will say you're never going to get along with everyone. I truly believe that. But we can have a commonality that we agree that we put our minds, we put our thoughts on everything we do, everything we're working for. We keep Oklahoma County in the forefront of our brains when we make decisions. You all receive the best of us. And that's what I want to accomplish. And that's why we reach out, create these positive partnerships, these positive relationships, so we can work better and we can go forward together. Next, we're going to talk about progress within the agency. I came to an agency that, and I think it's law enforcement in general across the nation. The going saying is, well, we did this when I was coming up, it still works now. Well, what worked 100 years ago, it might work now, but is it the best way? We have to constantly reevaluate our practices and ensure that it's the best practice for 2021 and going forward. And we don't operate just off past experiences, even though they might be working. How can we make this better? How can we reinvent ourselves? Our community deserves that. Our agency deserves that. They need to know that we are doing things correctly for the times today. So that's what we are working to with the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office. I'll tell you, the tune has changed. Our morale is higher than I believe it's ever been. I have the guys tell me all the time, and I'm truly pleased by it, because I was having a tough time when I came in about what style should I project. And I know it's probably a question that you're like, well, why would you ask that? Just be yourself. But you want to have this presence when you come in. And I was like, well, should I be a hard-nosed guy, or how should I come in? And I truly prayed to God and said, what way do you want me to go? And just kept going, just be Tommie. And that has been good enough thus far. And I hope being Tommie is good enough for you guys, as I promise I'm working hard for you each and every day. And with that, I want to open the floor and see what do y'all have, what questions do you have? I'm an open book, and let's start with some questions we didn't answer. Anyone? Sir.
What years were you at ECU playing baseball?
2011, that was my last year that I played there. So a little history on me. I played baseball, that's honestly what took me to college. And just like Chief Younger said, I never grew up wanting to be a cop. That was not the cool thing to do where I came from. That was not what anybody sought out to be when they grew up. But I was in school. I was supposed to get drafted out of high school for baseball, but I tore my rotator cuff in labor, and that's what sent me to college. And so in between, college years and coming home for summer, there was an Oklahoma City police officer that trained at the same gym I was at. He kind of took me under his wing, and he trained me with me. He got me prepared for the next season. For one summer break, he said, hey, you want to come on a ride along? I said, I don't want to be a cop. And he said, well, you have to understand that policing and baseball, they parallel each other. Because it's a bunch of individuals coming together to accomplish one mission. On the baseball field is to win, and law enforcement is to keep communities safe. So I oblige you. I went on the ride along. I'll tell you that ride along changed my life. I saw that law enforcement is more than just enforcement. We help communities help themselves. I don't think he made an arrest that day, but the impact he had on me changed my life. I said, this is what I want to do the rest of my life. Because I truly believe that if law enforcement invest in our communities, we unconsciously give our communities the ability to invest in their own safety. I truly believe that. But sir, yes, I left Eastern Oklahoma State. I played there 2007, 2008. I went to Arkansas, Little Rock, where I played a year. And then I finished up at East Central and became a strength coach. I wanted to make athletes bigger, stronger, better versions of themselves. And then my wife and I kind of did things a little bit backwards. We had our baby my senior year, and I had to go to work. So there we go. Anyone else? So.
Yeah, man. One of the things we wanted to review was staff pay. If you conducted that analysis, what about it?
Yes, so staff pay. Interestingly enough, we are trying to get pay raises. This year we're going to get a 3% COLA for our guys and gals that work in the Sheriff's Office. I think that is very positive. Also, reading through the language of the ARPA money that's come in from the federal government, you can pay officers for working through the pandemic. That is also something I'm exploring, and I will present to our county commissioners to see if they would approve of that. I think that's another thing that's positive, because a lot of guys made sacrifices, and when our world was locked up, they stood the line and kept communities safe. So we're trying to find raises each and every way we can. Funny thing how county government works, we don't have a sales tax, we don't have a tax within this county. So what we do is how we get our money is through ad valorem, which is property taxes. COVID presented many issues, COVID presented many issues with that, because where we do have several subdivisions that are going up, people paying their property tax when COVID went down. So we're working together collectively as county elected offices to, we had to zero net our budget passed for this year, but in September, we're gonna do a September supplement and see if we can achieve, the raise on top of the COLA. But I kind of want to explore the ARPA funds that are coming down from the federal government to reimburse the guys for working through COLA. It's a great question. Sir?
I know that one of your campaign issues was body cameras for your people. Could you give us an update on where you're at with that?
Body cameras for the people that I work for, I will tell you that is one of the pillars that I ran on as well, to provide transparency to our communities. And I truly believe that body cameras not only protects the officer, but it protects the community and holds everyone accountable, because it provides an unbiased piece of evidence that nobody can tank. And so where we're at in that process, it is a very long process. I have been trying to attack this since the day we came in office. Obviously, contracts and things like that, we're negotiating with the contract, and they have to be compliant with our DA and be signed off, so the language has to be accepted. But we are to the final phases now. I got the final contract in, and when I leave here, I will be walking into the DA's office to get approval, and then we can order those. So we are in the final phases, and I think this is a positive thing to roll out, because as every elected makes promises, you want to make sure you make good on those promises. So this is one that a promise made, a promise kept.
So, forgive me if you've already covered this, I was kind of doing a bunch of things. But can you kind of talk about, I work for the city of Edmond, so I know what our police department does for the community and being engaged and educating. I know there's a big rift between law enforcement and citizens. What is the sheriff's department doing to kind of make that difference up and just educate citizens in the county? Y'all doing any kind of community engagement?
Yes, community engagement is very important, especially where we are in the landscape of our country now where policing stands. So everyone's trying to get out. As COVID restrictions release, we are involved in everything. I have a community group as far as our SROs, that when they get out of school in the summertime, they get involved in the communities. We will be going to playing basketball with I think the kids in the juvenile facility this upcoming next week or so. Also get involved in the schools and go in and touring and start the SOUS program. I appreciate the PALS program, but I want something that's unique to the sheriff's office and that can provide, opportunities for people in the unincorporated area, the area that we're solely responsible for. So we will be starting a sheriff's athletic league. Those are already in the works, and we have to force our love on the community. We have to understand that there's no divide there's no division. If we come together, we can make this work. I know the narrative that goes out that police don't care, but I believe it's on us to put ourselves in that situation, that space, that may not be comfortable, that uncomfortable situation, but we have to have those talks and to move forward. So that's what we're doing as an agency. Sorry.
Criminal activity that you spend most of your time on, activities?
Well, obviously, people love to steal things. We are busy dealing with burglaries quite a bit, but I will also tell you, we have a commit office. Commit our guys that work the roadways, their interstates specifically, to catch and intercept dope loads that are coming from other states or, south of the border and things like that. And I'm gonna tell you, we are up tremendously in that. We are catching pounds of marijuana going everywhere. We're catching tons of meth, tons of heroin, fentanyl. So right now, people don't think the war on drugs is real, but it's real. We're out there really trying to keep these things out of our communities and away from our kiddos, so that we can help out, because drugs lead to a lot of things, mental health issues. It really puts us in a negative space, so that's one thing that's up as well. So.
I just wanted to compliment you. I know a couple of your deputies, and I know that one of the first things you did was reset their expectations as to how much time they're spending in the community and encourage them to show their face, be around, boots on the ground, cars in the neighborhoods. And that combined with actually having a social networking presence where you're actually talking about what's cool about the sheriff's department and how you're different from the other law enforcement organizations in Oklahoma City. It's paying off. I know kids that are I got kids in my youth group that just bond to the deputy that shows up every week for their youth group and provides security. I just want to say thank you for resetting it. It's not about being in the office, it's about being in the community.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. you know, as God says, you have to go to where they are.
Yeah.
And I have to reach you somehow. And I believe social media is a perfect platform for that. Not only to reach people, but like you said, to demonstrate what our deputies do. I think for a long time, nobody kind of knew because we didn't publicize it. And it's not hard to brag on what our guys and gals are doing. I will tell you one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised. And kind of sounds bad at first, but hear me out. When I came from Norman, I came from a municipality. And I always tended to look down or on the sheriff's office, because you said, you know, I don't know what all these guys know, or if they're up to speed and, you know, how we answer calls and how we respond to different things. But when I came into this office, the guys and gals that I've been blessed to serve, they are so smart, so intelligent. They provide such a tremendous service to the communities that we serve, and also they help other agencies provide service. We always lend a helping hand, and I just think that was the most pleasant surprise to see that there's no lesser than. Our guys are greater than or equal to any agency across the state or across the nation. And I just want to, you know, promote the good they do. And I'm glad to be received very good. Thank you, sir.
The athletic league that you're talking about,
Yes,
is
sir.
that going to just serve youth from the unincorporated areas, or is it going to include all of the basically the county?
Well, obviously, we're a county entity, so we would, you know, include the entire county. But, you know, Oklahoma City has their police athletic league, which services their community. I don't want to leave out the areas that we are solely responsible for. So, not that there will be a priority out there, but we will have our focus in the areas that we ultimately are responsible for serving to make sure that they get to participate in that. I'd like to bring up some other things because some people just don't know. Let's talk about the jail situation. So I still get questions about, does the sheriff run the jail? July 1st of 2020, there was a split. Now we have a jail trust and we have the sheriff's office. We are two separate entities. And I would like to put that out there and let people know, because a lot of people still kind of put the sheriff in the jail, and we're just in a different situation now. So if anyone has questions on the jail, feel free to ask. I can fill those questions as well.
Are you a fan of this system?
I am. I truly am. I think it presents us with a unique opportunity to tap into other revenue streams. So the county can't incur debt. And obviously with not having a tax or anything like that, maintenance of the building, supporting the purchase of a new building, that's kind of hard when you work with ad valorem dollars, you know, because there's only so much of that to go around. Well, the jail trust, it is a trust, and the trust doesn't incur debt, so we can explore bonds, we can explore other things to get other revenue in there. And I think that is great for the citizens of Oklahoma County, because I don't believe we need to raise taxes to accomplish that. And I think this is a unique way to, you know, approach it. And selfishly, I love being a cop. I love saying, hey, what are we doing today better to protect people? And to not have the jail as one of my responsibilities is truly a burden on my shoulders. So selfishly, I approve of it, and I think it offers a great concept or great opportunities for our county. Anyone else? It's been so pleasant to be here. I want to thank you guys again for having me. I truly think God has created for this moment, for this time, and once again, thank you.
Wow. Tommie time, pretty good stuff, and what a group at this table to kind of represent Edmond in our county. We are so lucky that they're connecting, because that hasn't always happened, and that they believe in the community. So thank all three of you, and remember, he's still your boss.
Chief Law Enforcement Officer.
And I think he's your boss, so we know at this table. Yeah, just about the all-time morale being higher. I'm so grateful for that, because that's an awesome in such a short amount of time to make that happen. and through COVID and everything else, so good job. We have got about 13 people on Zoom today. We have Betty Dehart, Barry Bell, David Finley, Ray Hibbard, Bill Moyer, Heather Lawrence, Andy Lester, Victoria Caldwell, Keith Kirsten, Carol Wright, Linda Banks, Dan Chavez, and Kathy Reeser. So we're going to turn the camera around and wave to all your Rotarians on Zoom. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We're glad to have you today. So speaking of Zoom, next week we are only on Zoom. There'll be no in-person meeting. Vacation Bible School happens here. They're going to be using this room. I will remind you, and probably remind you, and probably remind you, but nobody here even just without lunch, so we'll be all on Zoom next week. So without further ado, we're going to do our raffle. Sheriff, what we do is, for scholarship money, we do raffle tickets. We currently have $76 in the pot, so we're looking for you to draw a ticket and then to read those numbers for us.
It's going to be 171, and are they all 827?
Yes.
Okay, 827 3171.
3171. 3171. Oh, now they gave it to Chris, because I think Mal did one last time. Okay, so because we are the best club, we've aced it. We're looking for the ace of clubs. Ace of clubs. How about that? Wow, that was amazing. I don't think that's ever happened that quick, so very good. So, remember, next week, we're all on Zoom. Thank you for coming. Again, thank you for participating in the golf tournament. And thank you, Sheriff. We're glad to have you. Bye-bye.